Raquel Rocha. I am a Brazilian research. I'm here in Odense as a visiting scholar. So I came here to write a paper to be published in an international journal in the future, and also to experience the academic activities at SDU.
Research history and current project.
I attended a PhD at the Catholic University of Rio de Janeiro, in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And at the moment I was investigating the Brazilian middle class and the consumption of maritime cruises. Now I am a PhD fellow at the Business School of the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, also in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And my current research is about the Brazilian Black women and hair-related consumption. Both the researchers follow the CCT approach, the consumer and culture theory, that get together many researchers interested in consumption and culture. I'm talking specifically about my current research, the Brazilian Black women and hair-related consumption. We've been, when I say we've been, I mean me and my colleagues from the business school. We've been using qualitative methods because it's an interpretive research, and those methods are anthropologic inspired. My colleagues and I have published so far 4 papers. The first one proposed a reflection about Brazilian Black consumers. So we present some statistics and also literature about Black consumers. And the first thing we have to think about, I would say, is that most of this literature is an American and British one. So we have not too much Brazilian literature about those consumers, and we must take in consideration that Black and mixed people in Brazil correspond to about 52% of the population. So the second paper is about the socialization of these Black women and what they learn about themselves through the consumption of products targeted to the hair. And one of the aspects they learn about themselves is about how racism permeates the Brazilian society. And in the case of Brazil, veiled racism. We don't talk openly about racism, and we avoid to talk about it. And so this has kind of affects the consumption of those women, because we don't have, I would say, a proper market to fulfill their needs. The third paper is about those women as consumers that besides consuming products, they also produce their own products. Why? Because they don't find the right product in the market. So I have to buy, for example, some products targeted to white women and mixed with other things, sometimes homemade other things, to find the best product for themselves. And the fourth paper is about the demarketing they feel they face. So instead of a marketing action target to them, in a sense that marketing is here to fulfill consumer needs, they don't feel like that. They feel the opposite, that they go to the market and the market avoids them as consumers. So in other words, they don't grant them the consumer status. That's why we decided to talk about the demarketing instead of marketing. And now I'm here in Odense proposing to my colleagues to write about market information. The literature of market information, I would say, that lacks to target consumer underserved like Brazilian Black women. So this is a work in progress. So I tend to use the theory of recognition from Alec Honeth to try to explain the phenomenon. I've been working in this context, Brazilian black women and hair-related products, since 2014.
Is there a correlation of consumers' social status/age and their answers?
Because on the PhD I was investigating the Brazilian new middle class, I assumed in advance that the social class, the level of income, could be a very good point to take in consideration. So I started interviewing extremely poor women, extremely wealthy women. So as long as the results came up, I realized that the income was not a factor that was very important in the whole research, because all of them, poor or rich, would say the same. I feel like the marketing can avoid to see me as a consumer. So this is something we left behind. From now on, social class is not important in this sense. I would say that the old generation is more critical than the new one, but it's not the thing is more important so far, but it's an aspect that we can stress in other moment or highlight in other moment. I would say only that the last generation experience market that they have nothing to use in their hair, or at least made for them. The new generation, maybe because of the social media, maybe because the empowerment, even the prosumer movement, they are critical, but they can see quite easier the improvement of the marketing.
What is consumer socialization?
Basically, we use the term socialization to tell what you learn during your whole life to become the consumer you are today. So in terms of socialization, they learn about power and discourses that permeate the market, like that their hair is ugly. So everything concerned to their natural hair is ugly. Sometimes they tell me, Anna, I was not hired to work to this company because they told me unless I had my hair straightening, I couldn't get the job. So this is something that white women, at least in Brazil, would never face. The hair of a white woman in Brazil is considered good and beautiful.
Has your research shown influence on marketing in Brazil?
All this talk about Brazilian black women and hair related, it's brand new also for people in Brazil. Although it's something we live with, we recognize, there is no market, a proper market to those consumers. It's brand new to talk about it openly. So when you ask me if the companies is gonna start targeting them, or at least thinking about their own strategy, it's something I cannot guarantee as a researcher. But I assure you that some of them that's been shown a bit open to listen to us and promote actions to improve themselves as companies.
Have there been changes in the society?
Most of my interviewers, they are now starting or have finished the transition of the hair, which means that they leave the straightening hair aesthetics behind. They are becoming natural. And they don't claim for products openly, they claim for recognition. So in terms of market information, this is something I have to go further, because they recognize the improvement of the market. But if you go to Brazil today, for example, you can find one hair salon for black women in a neighborhood, but in the same neighborhood you're gonna see 1 million of hair salon targets for white women. You still feel the kind of what I'm gonna call an imbalance between the offer from one group and another. This is what Brazilian black women are doing. They are leaving straight to the hair. which means that they are creating what I'm following your question. They are creating their own new fashion way of living. This is what makes this research interesting, that this is something that starts with the consumer, not something I would say, of course there are some external aspects that influence them. I would say that the new wave of feminism, the new wave of black movement, especially in Brazil, can influence one seeing another, living the straightening hair, the support they gain through the social media. All of those aspects can help one another to create this new fashion way.
Are there countries with different marketing strategy on black women hair products?
England and the United States are the place you can say products openly target to black women. And I can give an example. If you go to Odense train station, there is a small market there. And when you get in Odense, in Denmark, most of the people white, straightened hair, blonde hair. And when you go to the small market in the train station, you can see at least 2 shelves target for black women openly. Why I can say that? Because in the package, you can see a picture of a black woman, a picture of a black man, or a black kid. There is no kind of package in Brazil. Brazilian products target to black women most of the time. They have the text, so they have to read the content and see if it is for them or not. They're most of the time, they're not in advertisements. When you have a figure of a black person, it's not a picture, but a draw. So it's not quite easy to find the right product for black women hair.
Future research.
So far, it's a huge accomplishment to write a paper and publish the paper very well. This is the intention by the end of the day, you know. And I intend to continue to write about this women as a context and find theories or other stuff that sounds interesting to the audience. Especially because we don't have many, okay, you have some, but not many studies that take black people in general as consumers. Most of the time what you see, and it reflects, I would say, the color of academia. Okay, many academics are white. They tend to, it's not a rule of course, but they tend to investigate context where white people is the target, or the context involve white people. And I tend to follow the same path, but taking black people as the context. And if you ask me if I intend to work in collaboration with someone internationally, I would say that first here in Denmark, there is Professor Søren Askegaard, the one I work with at SDU. He's been very kind to listen to my research and give me some advices. So I would say it's a huge collaboration, or contribution, if I say that.
Yeah.